Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Batman. Good luck, Harry Potter.
Well, cover me with eggs and flour and bake me for 40 minutes.
Hello, and welcome back to another podcast. Hello, I'm going to
ScreenMasters
find
it's
my
called.
thing. I know,
It's
I'm
called
going to start again in a
ScreenMasters.
minute. Hold on. Hello, welcome to another episode of Actually, I think you were laughing just in the background there, so let's stop again. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Batman. Good luck, Harry Potter.
Well, cover me with eggs and flour and bake me for 40 minutes.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of ScreenMasters with me, Bav.
And me, Fluff.
And this week, we are going to be talking about HBO shows.
Yep. This is my topic for this
Indeed,
this
it's
week.
TV,
The
time again.
TV time again.
It's an odd, even numbered podcast. So yes, it's
We're at
TV.
6 now, Pete.
I know 6.
Six.
That's
Six,
crazy.
6.
Crazy stuff. So yes, we're going to be talking HBO shows and picking our top 5 HBO shows of, well, I guess it's of all time.
Of all
really,
time,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, pretty much.
Including loads of the old stuff.
Yeah.
But first, I believe you've got some news
Yes.
we need to discuss.
Yes. So you've not been privy to some of this news.
Indeed, I've been
because
away from the sites
you've
for
been
the
away
last
from
few
the
days.
sites, yeah. So the Disney, I think it was D23, I think it's called.
D23 Expo or
D23,
something,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
was just on. So that's given us a little bit of news which you've not been privy to. So I figured let's cover that because we didn't really have time in the last one. We kind of covered some of the stuff that we'd watched. But yeah, so news. So given that we talked about previously as a result of Comic-Con, the new shows which have been announced for Disney Plus,
Indeed.
which was the Marvel stuff, they have now announced another 3 series
All right.
for the Disney Plus, which are all Marvel series.
Okay.
The first one is Moon Knight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to one of the Marvel Knights, which is an intriguing.
He's an interesting character
he's a
anyway,
very
isn't he?
interesting
I've never
character.
read any of his origin stuff or anything. But
He's a dark,
split personality.
he's a very dark character, very dark character. So I'm intrigued that they are using Moon Knight because he is kind of one of those Marvel Knights. If you know the run from.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I think I've read some of the Punisher from around that time. But
Yeah, so Daredevil, we had Black Panther was one of the Marvel Knights. Moon Knight was one of the Marvels. So yeah, it's an intriguing one. Given that they've moved away from the Daredevils, the Punishers, and the street level heroes, this is another street level kind of hero, as you might refer. Another series, She-Hulk.
Okay.
Now,
Interesting.
this is going to be Jennifer Walters, so whether they're going to be throwing in the lore aspect of it, we're now kind of missing that from the Daredevil side of stuff.
What's her origin then? Because I don't know She-Hulk's origin.
You don't know She-Hulk's? So She-Hulk's origin is she has a blood transfusion from her cousin, Bruce Banner, and as a result, she obviously
gets
becomes
the powers
green.
of Hulk.
And as opposed to the Hulk, she's green all the time. She's Hulk persona all the time. That kind of has been a bit up and down as of the last few comic book runs and things. I think she's kind of taken on her human persona and then kind of hulks up, similar to the way that Bruce does. No idea whether Mark Ruffalo is going to be in it, but like I say, these are early stages. We've got no showrunners. We don't really have that much information. They've just kind of announced and thrown a logo up there. So yeah, She-Hulk, another one. This one is one that I'm very happy to say I'm really looking forward to. This one is Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan.
The Kamala Khan incarnation.
Kamala Khan incarnation. Now,
That'll be very interesting.
Very interesting. The one thing that I have read from this is that this will somehow inevitably tie into the films. I don't know in what aspect.
Young Avengers, surely.
Whether it be Young Avengers, whether it be Champions, because they've recently had that.
True.
Whether she will appear in Captain Marvel 2, no idea. But
they could be putting a female Avengers team or something.
Perhaps. But again, a very interesting character. She's really good in the comic books. It's kind of come into her own in the last few years, very much so, heading up a team called the Champions. Recently, the book has been cancelled, but even still, it was very good to begin with. Didn't necessarily succeed where it could have done. The premise to begin with was awesome. With some of the younger Marvel figures, you had Miles Morales, you had Sam Alexander Nova, you had Amadeus Cho Hulk. So there's some big characters in there. So I'm curious to see how they're going to do this, especially with the fact that she is from ethnic minority. So again, it's pushing that kind of element to it. I'll mention one other final Marvel announcement which has come out of it, which is Kit Harington, as we all know for Game of Thrones. Jon Snow has now been cast in the Eternals as Dane Whitman, the Black Knight.
Okay.
So where
I'm gonna have to read some of this Eternals stuff because I am so lacking on my Eternals knowledge.
Black Knight was an Avenger. He wasn't part of the Eternals. So where he will factor into this?
When's he factored in?
What, the Black Knight?
Black Knight.
He's from the Avengers of like the 90s, 2000s.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I mean, he is.
Sense.
I mean, he's obviously been beforehand, but
So I've read all your stuff that you collected like around the Dark Avengers time and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you knew Avengers era, but no, he was around beforehand. So very intrigued to see where he's going to factor into this. So that was pretty much just announced. Couple of other things which did come out of the D23, which you don't know, which you may be happy about. I mean, it'd been rumored anyway. Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Okay.
Has been confirmed.
Based when?
Don't know about timelines. All I know is that Ewan McGregor came
the only
out.
bit I'm interested is with the gap.
Yeah, it's going to be between
the bit that takes us up
going
to
to
a
be
New
between.
Hope,
It's going to be
4.
between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. It's got to be because
that's
it's the
what I
only
want.
period.
That's the story I want to see.
Whether this will tie into the Mandalorian, which we've now each seen the trailer for.
Yes, I watched the trailer for that.
Very teaserish, but very intrigued. I'm very much
particularly
looking
by
forward
one
to that.
sequence in there that looked like someone was about to get chopped in half by a door.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back of my mind, I went, "Hold on! I thought everyone had said Disney Plus and the series were all going to be PG, and they're not going to do the R-rated stuff.
He's a bounty
or maybe
hunter.
they'll leave the R-rated stuff for the Fox brand."
He's a bounty hunter. There's got to be some
that's it.
brutality to it.
At the end of the day, the trailer shows lots and lots of stormtrooper heads on spikes and
So
stuff.
it
so
doesn't
it's not
seem
nice.
family friendly, but maybe that's
maybe that
where,
scene
everyone
cuts
will come in.
at that moment, and you don't see the gore, and that gets them a 12. I don't know, but I'd like it to be full on.
Yeah, so intrigued to see where this is going to develop. I know that Ewan McGregor said for a very long time he would always be happy to reprise the role. A lot of people will be happy that he will be reprising the role.
It would work if you were doing that time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to tell any other story from Obi-Wan, I don't want Ewan McGregor.
No.
But he's probably old enough now to be perfect age to fill that gap between 3 and 4.
Most definitely. So, and the final little bit of news. Now,
I can see that one.
You can see it, and you know I'm happy about this. Now, the 4th season hasn't even come out yet. And one thing I've learned is that the 4th season of The Expanse, which is due to drop in mid-December, I believe, is going to be dropped all on one day. Instead of a weekly, I'm gutted because I've got no time left to book a day off, because that would be my take a day off of work shit. They haven't even released season 4, but season 5 has been confirmed, and I am ecstatic about that news.
Good.
So the fact that Jeff Bezos, God bless him, so there we go. We're not talking about Netflix now. We're talking about Amazon.
We're back on Amazon.
Back on Amazon. The fact that he has given such love to this show, and whether he's the one forcing the season 5, I don't know, don't care. The fact that they've announced a season 5 has me even more excited than ever for the return of The Expanse.
It's good, and I need to catch up. The problem I have with it is that it's not a problem with the show, but the way they built the show, certainly in the first few seasons when it was being done by Sci-Fi, I think, in America.
Yes, correct.
It wasn't in line with the books, was it? So it's sort of like a book finished about halfway through a season and we went into a new book.
The first book covered the first season and the first half of season 2.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, I tried to start watching season 3 because that's where I'm up to. I tried to start watching that and was baffled. So I've got to go back and watch the end of season 2 again, I think. But I guess that's because of the format, because they will have then started book 2 partway through season 2.
Correct.
Which means that book 2 probably won't finish till into season 3, which is why I'm so baffled by the end of season 2.
Book 1 covers season 1 and half of season 2. Book 2 covers the second half of season 2 and the first half of season 3. Yep. But book 3 covers the second half of season 3, and that is the end of book 3.
So when I get to the end of book 3,
So by the end of 3,
all
you
right.
are up to the end of book 3.
That's just the problem I found. I don't know. Remember where I finished, and clearly it was because we were in the middle of something that was going to be finished in the season 3, rather than bringing it to a bit of a cliffhanger, where I've just got to know, oh, Jon Snow's dead. That's fine. I wonder what's going to happen to him next season. But I see. So okay, that's fine. I will watch that then. Because yes, that is a great show.
So that's the news catch up.
Cool.
Some stuff which I know that would tickle your fancy. Now, I mean, the last time that we did one of these, TV related podcasts, and we still started talking about the Marvel TV shows, literally 2 weeks later, as soon as we do that, there's suddenly loads more news announced.
Of
So
course,
that's,
of
it's the
course.
irony
It's
of
the
it.
way
So
it works. And the
whether
way
we
it
get
are.
in another 2 weeks' time, we get another bunch of shows announced, I have no idea. If so, we will catch you up then, everybody.
Indeed, yes. We will be meeting again in 2 weeks to record some more episodes, so we will then cover it. Okay.
So as I say,
Move on to the bulk then.
cover
HBO.
of the main topic this week is going to be HBO shows, the top 5 HBO shows for each of us. Now, I know that we both found it a little bit hard to completely go through a top 5 list because there are so many good HBO
I've
shows.
just counted my list, because what I did was found the HBO list
Yeah.
of shows that I sent you, and then wrote down all the ones that I've watched to then try and compile
I didn't
my
do
five.
that. I didn't go to that degree.
Well,
but yeah.
I've got a list of 22 shows
That
that
probably
I've seen.
sounds about
I mean,
right.
admittedly, Fraggle Rock and Sesame Street are included because I've seen them and they're
Okay,
HBO shows. But there's 22 shows there that I need
Yeah.
to choose from.
Um,
So I think I'm going to need a little bit of an honourable mentions section at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
'Cause
no.
There are some shows I've had to kick out.
That's fine.
that
Well,
I
feel free.
genuinely love.
Go ahead. Do your
Okay.
honourable mentions
So I'll do
first.
the honourable mentions quickly then. So, Ballers
Yes.
with Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson in, and I always forget his name. His name's Rob somebody. He's a very, very good comedian. He's normally in that batch of Danny McBride and those sort of boys. He's in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yes, I know the fella.
Rob Corddry.
Rob
That's his name.
Corddry. Yes,
Rob Corddry.
indeed.
He is fantastic
Hilarious.
as the comedy relief
Yeah.
to it, and obviously it's by the Entourage guys, who I know is a show we both watched and enjoyed. And it's the same story, but from a
Sports
American
perspective,
football
yeah.
perspective rather than a Hollywood perspective. But I think it's really good, and it's given me a lot of respect for Dwayne Johnson as an actor,
Yeah.
because he does show, there's some really same as Entourage. It's peaks and troughs all the way through the season. I think they're about 4 seasons in now.
It will end on 5.
Okay,
They've just confirmed
So,
the 5th season. will
I've
be the
got one
finale.
more to watch then. So, but yeah, it peaks and troughs the same way the other one does. So he gets to show a good range of acting. And I think he's really good in it. I'll mention Westworld, but to be honest, I was thinking about it when I saw it on the list, and I thought, yeah, the first series of that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've seen season 2. I couldn't tell you a damn thing that happened.
I could, but I wouldn't want to.
I'm a bit baffled as to what because I know I watched it. I like binged it as well. I saved it all up and binged it, and I remember enjoying it at the time. But I remember going, "What? What are we doing?"
I think there was maybe 2 good episodes throughout the whole of season 2.
I just did something I didn't want it to do. I don't think I wanted to go into the wider world and see what was going on. And I watched the trailer for the 3rd season and was like, I'm not sure I'm bothered anymore. I think you've gone as far as I'm interested in. True Detective, I feel like I should mention because I've just put myself through the 3rd season. But again, it's one season. That's why it can't make it onto the list, because the 1st season is incredible. The 2nd season was awful because, let's forget about Vince Vaughn trying to act like some sort of serious good actor.
Sure.
Going from this Louisiana bayou, it was very thematic. It felt very, what's the word I'm looking for? But the atmosphere of it, the tone of it was so good, and the directing was fantastic with the writing and Matthew McConaughey having a bit of a resurgence, and Woody Harrelson. It was just like a perfect storm of awesome things meeting together, and they just never ever recaptured that in any of it. Even this 3rd season, where they get Mahershala Ali. Hang on, have I done it right? Mahershala? Yeah, I'm sure it's Mahershala Ali. In to do it. Now he's a fantastic actor, and they got Stephen Dorff alongside him, who I've got a soft spot for.
Yeah, he's done good stuff,
He
bad
was
stuff.
that
Yeah,
90s
yeah.
actor, wasn't he, that we all sort of know, and I still have a soft spot for him from Blade as well.
Of course.
Loved him in that. But crikey, by the time we've gotten to this 3rd one, they're throwing 4 timelines at you at once, and I'm baffled, man. And the problem is, there was 8 episodes. By the second episode, I said to the good lady teacher, her indoors, right, because there's a boy and a girl. The boy's dead, the girl's gone missing. I said, right, this is how the boys died after the second episode. I was bang on. The girl, I thought I'd got it right, but actually, I couldn't have got it right, and it seems like they'd deliberately written it in such a way that you couldn't guess, because it was a character who you didn't know existed that turned out to be the crux to it all. It's like, well, yeah, of course I'm not going to figure that. That isn't good writing.
No.
Hide it, putting the clues there and letting us figure it out for ourselves as we go along is the way to do it. And, like, the 7th episode is essentially just one long exposition dump from a character that they've been looking for since the 1980s. So we just sit down and we get a massive dump of information from this character on how everything worked, why it happened, how it happened, blah, blah, blah. About 20 minutes later, you're like, okay, so now I know how everything happened. I'm bored, and I'm wondering why we've just had to do this, just have this dialogue exposition thing, instead of you actually telling us this as we go along.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrible. I mean, and I hate it for that, because it covers some really interesting stuff. There's some really interesting stuff about race in there that they cover. Mahershala Ali's really, really good in it, because he's in the different timelines. He's got dementia in the most recent timeline, so you see a development of that as you go through the other timelines, because you're in 1980, 1990, and 2015. So there's 3 to start with, and then by the end we've also had a 4th timeline that's somewhere between 1990 and 2015 that doesn't actually do anything or go anywhere, so it just confuses you more. But it seems to me that they wrote a very basic thing and then went, right, let's mix this up and make this more confusing than it needs to be, so that people don't know. And I disagree with it on that front. In Treatment was a very interesting little 20-minute show back in the day with Gabriel Byrne as a psychologist. I found it really interesting because of my interest in psychology. Melissa George was one of his patients in it. She was really good, and it was a different patient each week to start with, and then you started to see the second and third and subsequent visits of those patients as he went along. And then they mixed it up with him going to see his therapist, so you got to see their therapy sessions as well with him. It was really interesting and really good. I just lost track of it because there were about 50 episodes in the first season or something. They didn't split it into seasons, they just kept it going. But it was like a 20-minute,
I remember watching
some
job. Of them. I do.
I was really interested in it. I just lost track of it, so I don't feel I can put it in there. Veep.
Yes.
Is absolutely hilarious, but unfortunately, again, I lost track of it around season 3, 4.
Yeah, so I think it was after season 2. I kind of just dipped off.
I think it's up to about 7 now. So again, I can't put it in there, but it is worth a mention because it is a great show if you like your 20-minute political comedy type stuff. I mean,
Dreyfus, is it?
Yeah,
and Tony Hale. I love Tony Hale.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
And it's basically their version of The Thick of It. Which was the British version of that story. The Night Of is a very good little mini-series starring Riz Ahmed and John Turturro about a man who's wrongly accused of a murder, and he's a very good boy, and by the time he gets to his trial he has been in prison so long that he's a skinhead, he's got prison tats all over him, he's on heroin, and it's actually a very interesting portrayal of how the prison system can make someone a criminal, because he was not a criminal, he was innocent, and you knew that going into it. He was just wrong place, wrong time, and did silly things that then incriminated him when you look back on it, but at the time you'd do the same thing in his scenario. But I found that a really interesting look into something, look into a thing. I think it was a bit heavy-handed with it, so that's why it doesn't quite make it in there, but I think it's worth a mention. And the last one is probably one that not a lot of people are familiar with, but I've got all the VHSs. Again, children, go to your wiki page and find out what VHS is. Todd McFarlane's Spawn series, which was an animated series of Spawn headed by Todd McFarlane. It was animated, it was R-rated, and I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, I recall.
The only reason it's not on the list is because I haven't rewatched it.
It's been a long time since I've
probably
watched
about
that,
the last 10 years, and I wouldn't want to put it on without a rewatch to know that it's as good as I remember it. But yeah, they're the honourable mentions. I mean, there's tons of other stuff there. Things like Girls is a series that everyone talks about.
Never,
I watched a few. There's nothing in it for me.
No.
And Sex in the City. is a HBO show.
Yeah.
Again, I've seen bits and pieces of Sex and the City. There's just nothing in it for me.
No.
I found nothing in it to take my interest. So, go on then.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So my honourable mentions. Now I've spoken about one of these before, so I will kind of mention it. The only reason that I haven't put it in my top 5 is because I have actually talked about it previously before. That is the only reason that this is not actually in my top 5, because I didn't want to repeat myself going through another show which I'd already discussed before, and that's Deadwood. Loved Deadwood. As I've stated before, it was a fantastic show. I got into it a lot later. Luckily, I managed to get round to watching it before the TV movie came out. There's now rumours that they might continue doing some of the TV movie stuff, because I think the first one was a huge success. Again, the cast was just phenomenal. The series itself is just groundbreaking for HBO. To be that gritty in that era was just phenomenal. The actors just did such a great job. All of them came back that wanted to, at the very least, or could, for the TV movie as well. It has a very soft spot in my heart as an HBO show, and again, rightly so, it should be in my top 5, but the only reason it edged out is just simply because I talked about it before.
Yeah,
so that's the only reason that it's not actually in there. Another show was The Pacific,
which was a sequel to Band of Brothers.
Kind of a spiritual sequel. A spiritual sequel in the sense that it was during the same period. It was
the
set
Japanese
on
campaign.
the Pacific side of it. I didn't find it as enjoyable or as easy to watch as Band of Brothers. There was kind of the crux of 3 main characters in it, as opposed to kind of the supporting cast of Band of Brothers. We may get to that one shortly. But it was still a fantastic series. You go back, and again, it's the cover of that area of World War II, which everybody talks about the European campaign. No, not as many people kind of touch on the Pacific campaign.
Yeah, I think it's more an American thing than it is, because that was
precisely
their side of the war.
Yes,
really, that was the one that they got involved in mostly. Obviously, they came to Europe and they helped us.
Yes,
they didn't win the war for us; they helped us.
Yes, it's brutal. It is very, very much brutal. Some of the absolute destruction that occurs there, the massacres that they have to go through, it is pretty soul destroying at times. No joke. The characters in it do suffer a lot. One of the guys in particular really does suffer kind of PTSD by the end of the series. It's quite heartbreaking, but fantastic series. Again, well done to the guys for going after Band of Brothers and go, you know what, we need to tell that side of the story. And I respect that, I really do.
Absolutely.
Another show is going to be Westworld, as you kind of mentioned. Again, I very much enjoyed the first series. The second series just completely lost the plot for me. Completely lost the plot. There was one very good episode of the second series, which portrayed the Native American guy, and that was a phenomenal episode for me.
Yes,
it just portrayed his entire period, him realizing that he was a cog in the machine and going back to his original homestead and seeing all of the changes and things like that. Heartbreaking for him.
Yep.
That was just a fantastic episode, but by the end of season 2, it just completely fucking lost it for me. Not interested very much at all in season 3. I'm sure I will watch it because it's an HBO show. I'm hoping that it will improve and maybe it will ground itself a little bit more. Who's to say? Another show would be, now I know this is going to be divisive for a lot of people, but will be Game of Thrones. Because for me, the last couple of seasons did not hit home for me at all. I was... Don't get me wrong, the battle for Winterfell was a fantastic battle, years in the making, but at the same time, just kind of came a bit and just kind of went. The villain of 4 or 5 seasons was built up to this unstoppable force and just dies really, really easy. Just a bit pathetic on that front. The whole end of Game of Thrones, I think, has left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. I understand that a lot of people still have a lot of love and admiration for it. The first few seasons, I will wholeheartedly agree, I think really would push it into my top 5 if it wasn't for the later couple of seasons, unfortunately. Another show... Now, this is a bit of an odd one, but John Oliver. Last week tonight with John Oliver. Now I'd watched a lot. I'd watched a lot of it literally every week for the first three or 4 years. It just got a bit harder when there was a lot of Trump bashing week in, week out, and it got to the point where, you know what, I'm fed up of listening about politics all the fucking time. Even in, Brexit era as well, for those of you who know what Brexit is, it just does my fucking head in. So unfortunately, it did suffer from that, but at the same time, there are so many amazing topics that he touched on a weekly basis. He brought up stuff which nobody would ever touch with a 50-foot barge pole. He really shoved a lot of stuff into people's faces.
Going to our favourite reference point.
Yeah.
Criticised the WWE not
did.
so long ago, didn't he?
He did
for
indeed.
Their lack of health insurance.
Yeah, because they're independent contractors. They're not part of the actual company itself. People in the back office, they get health insurance and etc. etc. But guess what? Wrestlers, you don't. Yeah. You're an independent contractor. So he really does push the envelope out for a few things. And then my final... No, actually, I've got two more. I'm going to mention Entourage, because I do love Entourage. I could go back and watch it time and time again. The only reason, again, it's not in my top 5 is pure and simply because... Unfortunately, because it's... The last couple of seasons really did lose something for me. The first couple of seasons were absolute gold for me. I really loved it. It was that kind of... He was on the down. He was on his way up in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. That really got me, and I really did love that. But again, the last couple of seasons kind of lost its shine a little bit for me. It still has a very soft place in my heart. I think it'd be very hard to recreate that show in this day and age because
I don't think you would.
So many things. And finally, The Righteous Gemstones, which I'd covered in the previous one episode in, and I think I'm in love with the show already. So
cool. Okay.
Yeah,
that'll be very weird.
Yeah,
because people are going to hear that 2 weeks apart.
Yeah. So Anyway.
Cool.
So right, well, we'll get to the top 5 now. So I'm going to throw it over to you first.
Okay.
I think it's only fair.
At my number 5, strangely enough, segueing in nicely, is Entourage.
Yeah, there you go.
Entourage makes it into my top 5. I loved all of it. I don't have a problem with the 8th season. I was as excited for that as I was for the rest of it. I loved that show. I loved that it showed you what was going on inside the inner workings. I think there's some problems with it now. If you look back at it, as with a lot of things in this post-Me Too era, I think if you look back at it, it's got some really bad stuff in it.
Most definitely.
I mean, there's a character with the surname Steen, who is always in a dressing gown and naked underneath when he answers the door, whenever they go to see him, and it's all very knowing, and you just kind of think, guys, why were you letting this happen if you knew?
Yeah.
Because clearly everyone knew, because there's always a reference somewhere or other. I read the other day that Toy Story 2 got re-released, and they've cut a scene out of post-credits where the prospector is chatting up two of the Barbie girls.
Correct.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Because, that was essentially what Weinstein was up to and everyone else and stuff, and I see where you've done that. So I do think it's, obviously its portrayal of women is awful, but is it wrong? I don't think so. Certainly not at the time.
No.
I mean, unfortunately, it may not even be that case. That may not be the case now. I would hope it isn't, but at the end of the day, there's probably still people out there who want to have sex with a famous film star, and they're probably going to do that. However they can, and that is what it is. But I found it thoroughly interesting. Ari was the standout for me, as always.
Johnny Chase for me, I suppose, would have been.
Johnny was good with the. What was his series called? Johnny's Bananas. Johnny Goes Bananas.
Johnny Bananas
at the end.
Yeah.
Oh man, I loved all that. Turtle's cool. I always thought Eric was a dick, but Ari stole the show for me pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Just his rants.
No, I totally agree. It is, like I say, it was very hard not to put this on my list. It was really hard. It was honestly, I'd written it down and then I scribbled it out and then I wrote it down and I scribbled it out again. The rise and fall of Vinny Chase was just so engrossing to watch.
It was.
Especially for the first couple of seasons, most definitely. Yeah. It was that look at Hollywood through a different lens. Seeing the inner workings of part of it, them becoming producers, trying to make their own film, how much effort it goes to just to do X, Y, and Z. Still laughing about the fact that Aquaman done by James Cameron. There's so many cameos from so many Hollywood legends in there as well.
And wasn't there always a rule on it that if you were, there was something about how famous you were. If you weren't famous enough, you'd appear as yourself. If you were famous enough, you would have a different character in the film. They would make you a character in the show. That was always the tale I heard. Obviously, someone like Mark Wahlberg wouldn't apply to that because he's in it all the time himself because he's a producer.
Well, it's also based on Mark Wahlberg.
Quite.
So
he was always going to be in that role as himself, never as somebody else. But that was always the story they used to tell. But yeah, so my number 5 is Entourage.
Okay. I'm going to take number 5 for me is one which I'm still very, very, very surprised that you have not watched. I've told you time and again that you should watch this, which is Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Now this is, a very satirical look at programming, billionaires, big companies, kind of like your Googles, your Facebook. A very, very satirical view of how they are. It starts off with a big party for one of these companies, and you've got Kid Rock, doing a set on this big party for a bunch of, geeks, nerds, whatever you want to call them, and who just don't appear to have a clue what the hell is going on. And it's just they've thrown a shit ton of money at these guys because it's big company, big money. And then this one guy, played by Thomas Middleditch, creates this bit of compression software which turns out to basically break the mold of compression software. It's better than everything on the market.
I could do with that.
Yeah, well, there you go. So
7-zip only goes so
it's humour and realism of the digital age is absolutely hilarious. It really does, because it really does break down some of those perceptions about these big companies. You've got a bunch of people sitting around on a pedal bike. They're being paid millions of dollars to come up with these ideas, and they're sitting on a pedal bike and having a really relaxed time trying to break. And you look at the offices of Google or Facebook and you go, that's the weird kind of shit you always see in their offices. And
breakout zones and
exactly, it's like, oh yeah, it's a really hard life for us. You're getting paid millions of dollars to dick around half the time for creating a bit of software to make life a little bit easier. And yeah, it's really well crafted. The cast itself is very good. TJ Miller's in there, and he's hilarious. He really is hilarious.
He's just doing the TJ Miller thing.
He is very much doing the TJ Miller thing.
Because that's all he tends to do.
Yeah,
it works in some things.
Yeah, it does.
I would have him no other way in the 2 Deadpool films because you need that TJ Miller guy.
So he plays a guy called Erlich Buckman, who kind of is the guy that these guys live with, and he kind of becomes part of the shareholder. But at the same time, he's a lot more confident than some of the other guys. So his views and the way that he presents stuff is kind of needed. Martin Starr's in there as well. He's hilarious. He's a very, very bitter guy. Very dark. He's a satanist or satanist or whatever you want to call it. He's hilarious. Kamali Nanjiani, which we've spoken about.
Well said.
Yep, I wrote it down this time because I wanted to make sure that I actually got it. He's brilliant because again he bounces off Martin Starr like nobody does.
I saw him in. No, did I? No, I haven't seen Stuber yet, but Stuber was out the other week.
Yeah,
and he's in that, isn't he, with Batista?
I walk alone. Yeah, we won't do that too much. Anyway,
I forgot the next line. I was totally going to sing the next line, and I forgot it.
Well, we've both heard it enough with the wrestling side.
I walk for miles inside this bit of danger.
Batista's intro.
Batista's intro.
Inside this pit of danger.
There you go. See, you got it.
I do know.
Brilliant. There you go.
Just imagine Xavier Woods screaming it as he was making his entrance at WrestleMania. That's
yes, I've shown you that video. That was
absolutely brilliant.
A guy called Christopher Welch, who I didn't know that much about, but you know what? The guy was actually in the first series. He's kind of the mentor for the main guy, Thomas Middleditch's character, Richard. And he actually died in real life at the end of the first season. Yeah, he was his mentor, and it really did shake up the show. For the second season, they had to actually come back and rejig how this was going to be done because he died off screen. And that was quite a hit. You actually feel his presence. He was a very odd, eccentric billionaire, and again, that fit the mold for this kind of show. And then there was one guy called Jimmy Yang who plays Jin Yang. Again, he bounces off of TJ Miller like nobody does. The guy is fucking hilarious. He plays, I don't know what ethnicity he is, but he comes in and he just tries to spin off of everybody's ideas, tries to steal money, and it's brilliant. But yeah, you really should watch it because it's
How
particularly
many
on the.
seasons are we in? 'Cause that's what always puts me off. We're, about
We're on
7
5
seasons in,
seasons. The 6th season will be out soon, and the 6th will
and is
finish
it
it off.
a traditional American? So it's like
20, 25 minutes.
God, that is why I haven't started it.
There you go.
Because there's like 5 seasons worth of 20 episodes to watch.
Yeah. So right, over to you for number 4.
Number 4. Well, number 4 again. You. Oh no, sorry, I've got arrows going the wrong way. So my number 4 is actually my number 3. So number 4 is a very recent series on HBO called Chernobyl. It's maybe just me. I was born in 1982, so I don't know a lot about Chernobyl because it was 83, I think, something like that when it all went down at 1:23 and 45 seconds is when the call went in. Think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what the first episode's called. Weird how shit happens like that, but it's a look at the Chernobyl disaster that happened back in the 80s in Russia, and I knew very little of it, and it absolutely fascinated me, captivated me all the way along. The acting in there is incredible. You've got Jared Harris in there playing the main role. You've got Stellan Skarsgård. A couple of the bit part guys whose names escape me now, and I'm really annoyed. There's, I want to say Emma Watson. No, it's not Emma Watson. It's Emily Watson, I think, who's a British lady who's in it. But it tells a great story at the end of the day. It's a really interesting story. Now, it's a hard watch. I would never argue with that. It's certainly not a show that I binged. No. I watched one episode and I needed a break.
Yeah, it's the reason I haven't got around to watching it. I can't be that depressed
what
at the moment.
I'd seen, because it's depressing and harsh as hell at times. But, like I say, it fascinated me, and I thought it was a really interesting look. I like a lot of the things they did with it as well. The production value was incredible. Absolutely incredible, the production value. And I like the accents. In that, there are none.
Yes.
They don't do the Russian accent thing. And it was a decision they made early on because they feel it can go into the realms of farce or parody with everyone doing the Russian accent. I'm a Russian man. And eventually you're going to descend into farce and parody, which they absolutely did not want. So they they said, no, you're going to use your natural voices. So Jared Harris is an Englishman. Stellan Skarsgård has a faintly Danish twang to his voice. The key thing they didn't want? Americans. So there are no American voices. There are no American actors. Or certainly if there are American actors, they're not doing American voices in the piece, because they said they felt that would have been too far. Sure. To go to Americans in Russia would be slightly weird in the 80s. Sure. So they kept away from that. But it's the same trick. It's a film called Death of Stalin. By
yes.
Exactly
seen that. Hilarious.
God almighty.
Hilarious.
Just quickly, Jason Isaac's entrance in that is the best I've seen in a long time. Yeah. But again, it's from that. They decided the same thing. We don't need to do Russian accents to make this work. So you've got Steve Buscemi being Steve Buscemi. Yeah. You've got Jason Isaacs being a northerner. Yeah. Being a proper Yorkshire lad.
Oh, God, it's hilarious.
I really liked Stalin in that as well. There wasn't enough Stalin. I wanted to see more of Stalin because he was.
Is he a Brummie or something like that?
He was a proper northerner as well, and oh god, it was cracking. Yeah. But yeah, sorry. Back to Chernobyl. The thing is, as you go through it as well, they're talking about a lot of the nuclear physics and stuff and how it went wrong. And it didn't occur to me till I got to the last episode that actually I don't know how it went wrong. And they do the most brilliant thing in a court sequence at the end where he just has red panels on one side and blue panels on the other and explains that it's a balancing act. Nuclear reaction is a balancing act. So as long as you've got the same amount of red tiles on one side and the same amount of blue tiles on the other, you're fine. Because the red tiles is what the nuclear reactor is doing. The blue tiles are you controlling the reaction. So as long as they balance, it's perfect. But then as he goes through what happens, you start taking tiles away. And because that tile's not there, it means that this reaction isn't being controlled. So this reaction gets out of hand, which takes this tile out of the way, which then does this and this and this. And I'm not making it sound easy at all. But actually, visually on screen, it's a very, very clever and simple way of explaining how a nuclear reactor went bang when it shouldn't. They should not do that without, ridiculous things happening, which of course did happen. And I know it's being remade by the Russians because, of course, the Russians don't like.
Yes,
the
they
fact
really
that
don't
were
like.
wrong.
Yeah, they don't like it.
Apparently, someone told me the other day that the CIA are apparently going to feature in it.
Yes, so I've
the
read.
CIA
Yes, the
were part
CIA
of
are
it.
behind
Oh,
it,
for God's
apparently.
sake. Of course they are. But no, if you're at all interested in that, or you like a true life gritty drama, because that's what it is. There's no humour to be found here, guys. It's a cracker. It really is. The acting, the production value, it all adds together to make a cracking little series.
Lovely.
And like I say, maybe people will complain that I've put an 8-part mini series in the list, but it affected me so profoundly. I felt I had to.
Yeah,
It certainly beat True Blood off my list. That's for sure.
I mean, the only reason that I haven't got around to watching it is I need to be in the right mindset to watch it. I think.
Yeah, no, I
That's
totally
the
understand
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I totally understand. It is not an easy one, and it's not one that you sit down and binge all 8 episodes in. No, you just can't.
Right, so I'm going to go 4 for me. Now, this is, again, another one that you probably not watched, which was Treme, which was another David Simon production post The Wire.
David Simon, remind me.
David Simon from The Wire.
The Wire.
The Wire.
Did you do something before that? I want to say The Shield.
No, he did Homicide Detective. So it's
That's it.
yeah.
Homicide: Life on the Streets.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So Treme is set in New Orleans post Katrina. It's it's an amazing storytelling piece, portrayal of the city and the culture, music, the food, the politics, the police, the Mardi Gras Mardi Gras Indians.
You've got a typo on your bit of paper there, mate.
I just read it really, really quickly. That's all.
Doctor's handwriting.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I cannot say most about this is the musical performances are absolutely phenomenal in this entire series. It's 4 seasons long, which
is it done now?
It's done. Yeah, no, it's done a good few years ago. You've got some of the guys from The Wire, Wendell Pierce, Clark Peters, both kind of pick up as new characters in this. Wendell Pierce is hilarious in this. As
Remind me who
Antoine
he is.
Baptiste.
It's not a name
He's
I've
Bunk
picked up. Bunk.
in here in The Wire. So yeah, he's absolutely hilarious in this. You've got Steve Zahn in it as well as kind of a disgruntled musician.
I like him sometimes.
Yeah,
he's got to find the right film.
Yeah.
I remember him from something like Joyride or what was it called in America? I don't know, some crap horror film anyway. I think it was called. Was it called Joyride?
Joyride. It sounds like Joyride. Yeah.
I think it was
Paul
Joyride over here
Walker?
and something else over there. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was in that, and I thought he was poo.
Yeah.
But then I've seen him in other stuff, comedy stuff, and I think he's really good. And I've seen him in straight stuff, and I've gone, oh, actually, you're all right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Melissa Leo as well. I mean, fantastic actress. She does really good job in this. John Goodman is in the first season. I can't say too much because I would encourage you to watch it. But yeah, he has quite an arc, suffering a lot as a result of Katrina and everything that happens to the city. There is one person in here who I will again mention by name, which was Lucia Micheli. Micheli. I'm not pronouncing that by any stretch. She is a.
Is it better that we say the names and get them wrong, or should we just not?
We're
say
at least
the names?
attempting.
I'm not sure.
We're at least attempting.
Yeah, I suppose it's something like Brits Abroad. At least if you try and
Yeah,
speak in
sure.
Spanish, they might appreciate the fact that you've given it a shot.
But she's a real life violin player, and so she really does bring that level of
nice.
authenticity to the music. As I say, the music for me was really, really the crux of this series, massively. It does touch on so many other good things. Again, it's great storytelling. I wouldn't expect anything less from David Simon and his team. It's absolutely phenomenal, though. Incredible real-life appearances by real-life musicians. Kermit Ruffkins from New Orleans.
Kermit Ruffkins. Wow, that sounds like a jazz musician.
There you
definitely.
go. Yeah. So again, there's a great playlist on Spotify for those of you who have Spotify. Go in there. Find the Treme list. It's great. There's loads of songs from the series itself. Loads of original stuff as well. It's just phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. The music for me is the thing that drew it most to me and kept me going back. But I can't rate this, enough. I know one of our mutual friends, a friend called Gary of ours. He went over to New Orleans and kind of rubbed it in my face because he knew how much I'd love the show and how much I would have loved
We've
to.
got to mention Gary. He's our claim to fame because he worked
yeah.
with. If you check out the credits for Tim Burton work around, I don't know, early 2010s maybe.
Yeah.
He was part of the sound team on Tim Burton's stuff.
And Ridley Scott.
what is it, Sweeney Todd, First Alice. I also know he did like Golden Compass though as well.
Yeah, he did
So
Robin Hood with Ridley Scott. As I recall,
that's right.
So,
Yeah. So yes, he's our claim to fame. Gary Keller. Hi.
Hi, Go.
You may not be listening to this actually because I don't think we've told you it's here, but we will do.
Yeah.
So hi.
Yeah. So there's my number 4 anyway.
Cool. Okay.
Over to you for 3.
So number 3 is, we're going to come back to it again because I'm not as down on it as you and everyone else. So Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones makes my 3, man. It was at a time where we've discussed previously in I think maybe in the first TV top 5 episode, maybe even Smallville that brought it up, but I realised I was watching telly for
Smallville.
the sake of it.
Yeah.
I was not watching some of the programs, particularly the DC, the Arrows, the Flash, Supergirl, that sort of stuff. I wasn't watching them because I enjoyed them. I was watching them because it was a habit and I felt I had to. And Thrones is the show that made me realise that that's what I was doing, because that was the show I was excited for every week. And then as soon as it finished, all too early every single time, I then had to wait ages, and I was always excited for it to come back again. I mean, we all know that the early stuff is fantastic and it's brilliant. I still think it's the best piece of misdirection ever to put out all your promo material for the first season with Sean Bean sat on the throne and then kill him off at the end. That's genius, absolute freaking genius. And again, you got Mark Addy in there in the first place, and we could go through the cast as they come and go. Jonathan Pryce coming into it as the set. Baylor? No, he wasn't Baylor. Oh, he was the idiots, weren't they? They made Cersei walk through the street naked, didn't they? Frick, I can't remember their names now. That's really going to annoy me. So in about half an hour post-record, I'm just going to shout at the top of my lungs, "Oh, it's a blah, 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 blah!" And people are going to be really confused and not know why. But the 8th season, I made my peace with. I didn't like it necessarily, but when I figured out roughly episode 3, I think it was, that this wasn't going to go the way I thought it was going to go. Because like you, and like I guess everyone else, we all thought that first battle up north at the wall was going to fail. And the White Walkers were going to come down, and then we were going to have a big face-off down the bottom. Now, maybe they changed it because they thought it was too predictable. Maybe they changed it because they were told to, because that's how the book's going to play out. We don't know, do we? This is the problem. And this is why I won't be too harsh on it, because I don't know what those two guys were told they could and couldn't do. For all we know, they wrote the series they wanted, and it's the one that we all wanted, and they took it before them, and they went, no, you can't do that, because our deal says that George is allowed to do this, this, and this, because that's what he's going to do in the book, so we can't do that. You've got to do something else. I don't know. I'm being fair to them because I enjoyed the rest of it so much. But yeah, as soon as I realised, oh, okay, the Night King's done for, we're dead. I made my peace with it. I was like, all right, well, this isn't going to be the show, the ending that I want it to be. So I'll just accept it for what it is. For what it was, I didn't think it was too bad. But it's when you consider what we all wanted from it and all the expectations. And again, I've been here before. It was called Lost.
Yeah.
Again, I would sit here and defend some of the early seasons of Lost to the hilt because I think they're fantastic. But when you get to the end of it, you do realise they didn't freaking know what was going on. I genuinely think they did at the beginning, because they used to do podcasts alongside it where the writers would be, I mean, I remember they used to say, we don't put anything in the show unless we know how it pays off. Well, that's clearly bollocks. That's clearly bollocks. They didn't know how the frickin' hell the numbers played out until they wrote it for the last season. I'm damn sure of that, because I'd have come up with a better reason for what they were. You wouldn't have just said, oh yeah, they're the seat numbers on the plane. That sorts that one out. It's like, no, we don't want you just to go around tying up all the answers, you know? Anyway, this is talking about Lost now, isn't it? Getting back to Thrones, I don't feel Thrones disappointed me that much in that way. And even though the 8th season did disappoint me, I was so excited. I mean, again, I remember the season. John died at the end of the fucking season, and I could not wait to find out what happened.
I already knew. I'd read the book.
Yeah, well, there you go. But I didn't read any of the books, so I didn't know. So I was there. And maybe that's another part of it. Maybe that's why you're not as keen on it when it got to that stage,
by the
because
latest
you know
book, it was boring.
what was going to happen, potentially. So that can always affect you. You know, if you've read the book, you sometimes want to see a visual representation of what you read.
Well, I mean,
you don't want them
the-
to change it and tweak it and mess with
The
it.
problem with the last book was I got really halfway through the last book. I think it's Dance with Dragons, and it's fucking awful.
Yeah, really.
And I really don't give a shit about reading the last couple, which has
that
taken
one-
him like 2 decades to fucking write now.
That most recent one, did he write that post Game of Thrones having started on telly?
I couldn't tell you right now.
Because that's what I'd be interested
It's been like a decade since
I
he
wonder,
wrote one.
because I'm
anyway.
sure one of them came out in the middle of
Yeah,
Game of Thrones
probably.
being released on HBO. And I always wondered whether that book would be any good because he'd finished it without the time that he had previously for the other books. And yeah, like you said, if I was the publisher, I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, I don't want the next 2 books because I don't think a damn person's going to buy them, apart from your diehards who were there for the books in the first place. But you've certainly not gained any new readers from the series.
No.
Go on then, back to you.
Right, so 3 for me. 3 for
dear.
me.
We are running along on this one,
we
but
are.
it's fine.
Just as a note, Wayne will probably edit this out. Yeah, I think we might need to find a couple of cuts for where we've extended a little bit over this.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just waffled a bit.
Yeah. Anyway, back to it. So number 3 for me is Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers, which
Okay.
was a 10-part limited series. So again, I've picked a short kind of compressed series. I know you picked Chernobyl.
But that one was
Chernobyl.
important, though, wasn't it?
It
I
was.
remember. I mean, we don't
It
get
was.
water cooler telly anymore
No.
too much, do we? Because there's so many different streaming mediums
Yeah.
and cable channels and TV channels and stuff that unless it's apparently Love Island, no one
Did
seems
you have
to
to
watch
fucking
the same
mention
show.
that?
But oh, come on, it's the most recent
Oh.
example. Like, what's another show that everyone seems to watch that's really crap and no one should be fucking watching?
Yeah, your intelligence drops by 10 points as soon as you watch that
The
show.
only other thing I can equate it to that I will back up is Bake Off. Everyone seems to watch Bake Off still.
Yeah,
and
I
likes to
still
talk
don't
about
watch
Bake
Bake
Off.
Off.
I know, you're silly.
But anyway, let's get back to Band of Brothers. Let's not talk about crap like Love Island. And that's for the girls at work. Anyway, from the beginning of boot camp to the final days of the war, this was an absolute gem and a half for me. I know that most people have probably watched Saving Private Ryan as well. This had obviously come out of that era very much in the incredible, FX and realism of the brutality of war. Underscored by the real life counterparts to the actual cast. So you actually had the real life version of these characters, of the character of Damian Lewis, his real life counterpart, doing a little section at the start of an episode explaining what had happened during this section of the war. And you can see every emotion on his face, how much they suffered during the war. This is Damian Lewis at his best for me. I mean, he's gone off and done Billions, which I'm hugely a fan of. But this for me is his best piece of work. You've got a massive cast. I'm just going to spend like 30 seconds running through some of the names here.
Because
So
yes,
we've
I was
got
going to ask you to name some of them.
some of the big people. So you've got Michael Fassbender, you've got Dexter Fletcher, you've got Scott Grimes, you've got Michael Kudlitz, who you recognise from Walking Dead and from a few other shows. You've got James McAvoy, you've got Colin Hanks, you've got Donnie Wahlberg, you've got Tom Hardy. Some of these characters only play a very small part. But the fact that
was
you've
a massive
got
ensemble, though,
a
wasn't it?
massive ensemble cast, I mean, this was such a rich.
Because I want to say David Schwimmer's in it as well.
David Schwimmer is in it as well. Yes, I did. Just because I had so many names.
No,
I was
I
like,
know. It's just one that
Schwimmer's,
pops into my
yeah.
head. Whenever I think Band of Brothers, I'm like, I'm sure someone told me David Schwimmer's in that.
I mean, this is a first-class ensemble piece more than anything else. Hard cutting. It's brutal. It's emotional. There's an episode where they go to a concentration camp. You see the absolute brutality of the impact that the Jews had to deal with. They're emaciated people. They've been absolutely destroyed as a people. It absolutely pulls at the emotional heartstrings. It gives you a realistic impression of the war. The Battle of Bastogne, where they are sat in this little woodland and they are being bombed from every fucking side and they can't do a damn thing about it. They are surrounded. And it's absolutely incredible.
It's interesting because it's something that I think war movies particularly often miss is the days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these men were sometimes trapped, like you say, or sometimes on a line for days, weeks.
Yeah.
What do you do in that time? I never. It's always what occurs to me is, Christ, that had been boring. But then you're like, yeah, but actually my life was on the line potentially every second of those moments. So actually it'd have been terrifying. So I don't know how they got through it. And like you say, listening to I like watching. Well, I don't like watching, but I find it interesting seeing footage, like you say, of veterans talking about it because it's in their eyes. Like you say, you can see what they went through, and you can see it in their eyes when they're talking about it, and it does bring it home.
No,
that is one that I do want to watch. I'm not a huge war film
it's
or
one
series
I would recommend
fan,
to everybody.
but I am interested in the war. I just don't tend to get along with war movies so much. But I love the World War history, World War II in colour, which is on Netflix.
This honestly
is a fantastic series for anyone who wants to know about.
Made me go and watch that World War II in colour. It really did, and I know that my granddad fought in World War II, and he never talked about it because of the emotional impact that everything that he went through. He never talked about it with me. As much as I would have loved to have heard what happened, he would never talk about that kind of stuff, and understandably so, because it was such a huge era for that generation, and
how do you even begin to explain it as well?
We owe them so much. We owe them all so very, very much. So
that's why it sickens me these days with the lack of respect sometimes for elderly people, and you think, well, these people made it so that you're not speaking German today. Is the classic adage, and it's not wrong.
You look at the world today and you think they went through it to get us to this point here, and we appear to be throwing it down the fucking drain.
Again, we've got I have 2 children, and my children find it annoying when they're watching television upstairs where I don't have Sky or any sort of pausing facility on the telly, and they want to go and do something, and they're like, "Oh, can you pause it?" No. What? Why can't you pause it? I'm like, you guys have got no idea. And even then, I've got no idea. I got no idea because I wasn't able to pause telly at the time, but I had 4 channels, which is a darn sight more than they had back then. So it is ridiculous as it goes forwards.
Right, over to you for 2.
Right, so my number 2 is Flight of the Conchords.
I thought you might say this.
Did they do 3 seasons in the end? I think they did. I know they did 2 for a fact. I think they did a 3rd season that wasn't quite as good, didn't quite recapture the magic, but I love Flight of the Conchords. They are Jermaine Clement and Brett. I've forgotten his surname. It's alright, he doesn't know me, so it's not like he's going to come around and tell me off.
Should have made notes on this, what are you doing?
I know, I haven't written it up.
I've literally got 7 pages of notes today.
I know you've got 7 pages of notes. You're better than me this week. Yes, so it's Jermaine Clement and Brett, somebody. They are a band. They're hilarious. It's just a right little quirky, odd. I don't know. I find it a bit Napoleon Dynamite at times. It's a bit The Office at times with its awkward humour. I love that series. I love those guys. The music in it is hilarious and brilliant. And there are songs that, like I'll Be the Racist Dragon, is a hilarious song, but it doesn't work without the animation and the scene from the TV show that goes with it. And there's quite a lot from their... I don't know whether they released it as an album actually, but their catalogue of songs, so many of them work so much better if you actually watch the scene from Conchords that the song is taken from or written for. But yeah, I think it's great, and obviously they've both gone on to do great things. Jermaine Clement is an actor in all things now, and Brett went. Last thing I heard he was doing was he wrote the music for the 2 Muppet movies that were recent. Muppets Most Wanted and the Muppet movie before that. And he was the song man on it, which is why there's a song in there called Muppet or a Man. Which is hilarious and has some very, very Conchords-esque lines in it, which is really good. But yeah, Flight of the Conchords always have a special place in my heart. I love that show. I love those guys. And yeah, it was just a perfect, quirky little half an hour of escapism. And yeah, I love that show. That would be my number 2.
Cool. Now, my number 2, I think, is...
He's staying short on the answers, by the way, guys, because we're running slightly long on this one.
Number 2 for me is going to be... Well, you talk about yourself for sure. Number 2 for me is going to be Sopranos.
Okay.
The Sopranos, for me, is quintessential HBO shows, and it's, for me, was one of the shows which put HBO on the map. More than any other show, this put serialized TV made by HBO on that platform.
I can't think of anything before it. I'm thinking like 6 Feet Under was quite popular.
Came after this.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
This is the quintessential show that really broke that mold.
I remember everyone talking
and
about
moved people away from movies to quality TV. You've got
and showed that TV could have the production value.
Correct.
TV.
I mean, you've got James Gandolfini, the late great James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. What a phenomenal character this guy was, and played very well by James Gandolfini. What a supporting cast as well. Honestly, you've got. I mean, I'm just the names of some of the supporting cast. You got Paulie, you got Sylvia, you got Pussy, Uncle Junior, you got Meadow, AJ, his wife Carmela, Christopher, his nephew, Adriana. Basically, if you like The Godfather or Goodfellas, this is new.
Goodfellas? Goodfellas? We're not that English, son. It's Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Sorry, Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Oh, Goodfellas.
Come and watch The Sopranos.
This is New Jersey mob. The stereotypical kind of crime, family, food, culture of that Italian era. A guy who goes to therapy. A mob boss who goes to therapy. They made a goddamn film out of the basis for that aspect of it, which was Billy Crystal and Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, analyse this.
Analyse this.
They did analyse that.
Yeah,
as well,
and that came out of this show. That came out of this show.
Interesting.
It's got FBI informants, so you've got that brutal, realistic impression of mob bosses trying to be undermined by FBI informants, people within their ranks that are trying to do them over. It's funny as hell at times. There's one where two of the characters are out in the woods, which is shot by Steve Buscemi, and it's fucking hilarious. Two of the characters, two mob guys, stuck out in the wilderness, in the woods. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Emotional as hell at times. It really, really tugs at the heartstrings because although Tony is a hateable guy, he's also a lovable guy. You love to hate this guy at times. The relationship he has with his mother, his wife, his kids, his friends, his nephew, and this has got one of the most divisive endings of all time.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, I've never seen The Sopranos because I'm not a huge... in the same way that I'm not a huge fan of westerns, I'm not a huge fan of the gangster movies. I've seen The Godfather. It's not my cup of tea, so I've not seen the other two. I've seen Goodfellas. It's all right.
Goodfellas.
I like the bit with Joe Pesci where he's doing the funny, what I amuse you. Yeah. I like that. That's very cool and very, like, whoa, all right, chill out, which is supposed to be. I don't know. I was late to the party with Sopranos. Definitely, it had finished before I even became aware, and I think that's why I just thought, well, it's not my kind of thing, so I won't bother. But I did hear the ending, so go on then. How do you fall on the ending? I am actually quite happy with the ending.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. When I was watching the ending, I genuinely thought, is there something wrong with? I didn't download it. If I did download it. A copy which is fucked up because you have got the family sat around a table in a diner and it suddenly cuts to a black screen and you're like, hang on a minute, have I missed something? And then the credits roll and you're like, did I just miss a scene? No, they quite literally subvert the idea of what this ending could be, whatever it could be. It's one of the most divisive endings of all time for an HBO show, but I actually think it works perfectly.
I think it's fair to say for any show. It's divisive for like you say, it's gone down in history. Looking back on it now as one of those endings.
Number two, the Sopranos for me, and we get to number one, and
indeed, so my number one, I believe, is probably the
same as mine
because neither of us have mentioned it yet.
No, and that would be The Wire. So, I mean, let's face it, this, the amount of people you read online, this is regarded as one of, if not the greatest shows of all time.
Yes. Certainly, like you say, the
is.
Critical belief and everything is alongside it. And again, it's another one of those shows. HBO's are masters at it. It's cast list.
Yeah.
Freaking cast. Idris Elba's in it.
Yep.
And he's fucking amazing.
Yep.
And,
Dominic West.
The name. Thank you, Dominic West. Sorry, Dominic Cooper popped into my head. I don't know why, but yes, Dominic West.
Yep.
I'd never even heard of the bloke. I think he was Jigsaw in a Punisher film I watched.
Correct.
But that is all I knew. And Jesus, he's amazing. And his interplay with Bunk, whose real name you can say in a minute, because I've forgotten it from earlier.
Wendell Pierce.
Thank you. He's those two together, I could just watch them. And I think that's largely why the show works, because they got two great actors to play great characters who have great chemistry, and that's just a recipe for gold.
Yeah,
I could watch that forever and a day.
Yeah.
And then you add in the rest. You add in Stringer Bell, Idris Elba. You add in what's his character's name? Michael Dudar Williams.
Michael Kenneth Williams.
Yeah, what's his
Omar.
character's name? Omar. Thank you. I'd forgotten his character's name. The kids, Wallace. He's one of the kids. He's popped up in other stuff since then that I've seen.
Yeah, it's Michael.
Come on.
Was just in Black Panther, for Christ's sake?
Yes, that's it. He's
Michael
Killmonger.
Jordan.
Thank you, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. So it's
and again, you see him in Black Panther, and you're like, oh, you were that 10-year-old kid in
the
Wire.
first season of The Wire.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, this series. I remember watching it, and I was going to bed at 1, 2 in the morning every day because I was trying to fit in as many episodes as possible.
Couldn't stop.
It was so addictive. I mean,
and like you say, why is it addictive? Is it addictive because it's got lots of explosions and crashy bangs? No,
this is
generally dialogue.
Gritty as shit.
Yeah.
This is the most realistic and gritty impression of how a police investigation in that era went through. Wiretaps. How an actual wiretap was put in place. They didn't have the technology of today, where click of a button. Oh yeah, I can listen in on that. They had to literally go through the ringer just to get this shit done. To try and take down these drug organizations. I mean, just going through the seasons. The first one is about police, crimes and drugs. Second season hits the docks and the mobs, still carrying on threads from the first season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Third season hits into politics, police politics.
Is that the one where you got Aidan Gillen as the mayor?
Yeah. Mayor he becomes the mayor eventually, but Carcetti.
But it's his thing, isn't it? He's running for it. And that's a fantastic series.
You've got season 4 goes into education and the school system, and then season 5 goes into the media and newspapers.
Yeah.
I mean, every single season they added a little bit of something else.
I kind of wonder whether it's works because it's the Marvel thing of sequels then. So let's pick a different genre and do, so we'll focus on a different part we'll pick on a different part of the system and how that part interacts with the police in that way.
Correct.
And I don't think I ever thought there was a black and white decision in that show either.
No.
Everything was great.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because there's the bits, I forget which season it is, but it's where, I want to say Bunny is
Bunny
the
Colburn.
head cop, and he takes the area that's trashed.
And they turn it into New Amsterdam.
And they make all the drug dealers go there, and if you go there, we're going to leave you alone. You can do what the hell you want because it clears the normal street corners of drug dealing. Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrong.
Massively
idea,
wrong. Massively wrong.
But that's what they have to go to because what you don't know that in the background is he's under pressure from the politics, from the
crime
numbers.
stats.
And that's the thing that gets me is when they, my stats have dropped. Why? Oh, because we reclassified this as that. What? No.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
It's still the same crime, but you just reclassify it,
Yeah.
so the politicians aren't that bothered about it anymore. Then, and you just that sort of stuff. You just go, what?
Yeah.
And I think is it the last season where McNulty does the bad boy
becomes
thing?
the serial killer.
Yeah. And
or
again,
a supposed serial killer.
Horrible idea.
Truly horrible idea.
Fictionalizes a serial killer, but uses it to get money.
Yeah.
And then siphon that money into ongoing actual investigations to try and help them solve crime.
And the one guy who you thought was the moral compass, Lester, is the one guy who's actually helping him. And when Bunk finds out, he's like, Jimmy! What the Jimmy?
Yeah.
But I mean, But
again, it's all that thing of doing the which way around is it? The wrong thing with the right thing?
The right thing for the wrong reason.
Thank you. Yes, you're doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
Correct.
That's the way around
that's the way around it should have been.
So he's doing the right thing by getting more funding into the unit, but he's doing absolutely the wrong thing by pretending there's a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing by clearing the street corners of all the drug dealers, but you're doing absolutely the wrong thing by just telling them all to go to one area and you'll leave them alone to do what they want.
Yeah. Like you say, we could literally, I think we may at some point end up having to possibly spend some time on The Wire because it is such.
We might do. I could probably watch it again.
It's such a massive undertaking. The drug war between Barksdale and Bell and Marlowe Stansfield in of itself could, we could talk about that for 20, 30
And
minutes
again,
at a
I bet
time.
there's a million actors we're missing as well.
Oh, God,
if
most
I went back
definitely.
and watched it now, having seen, like you say, a lot of stuff where, as black actors are becoming more prominent in roles and more, getting more leads, and more films about black culture are being made, I'm willing to bet tons of those actors have popped up in other stuff now, and I'd go back and go, oh, you were in this as well, and you were in this, you know.
I mean, it's one of those ones, again, I think, which was smart. It had 5 series, and each series had the same piece of music in 5 different ways.
Yes.
And that again just shows the ingenuity of a series like this to be the same but be different. Every single character in this is memorable. I love Dominic West's Jimmy McNulty is just like, the fuck did I do?
The fuck did I do?
That is just a phrase and a half, just because it's so hilarious, so in-fitting with the character. You've got a politician, Clay Davis, who's just like, shit.
Oh yeah, we've got to have one of those in there. I've got to have a
please put that in there as well, Wayne. Thank you.
Shit, boy. Think I'm gonna be the scapegoat for the whole damn machine? Shit.
Clarence is gonna...
Major crimes. Shit. They gonna come talk to me about money laundering in West Baltimore? Shit.
I'm sure that's been parodied about 15 billion times since.
Yeah, most definitely.
There are YouTube compilations, if you want to look them up, of just millions of his shits from that film, from that series cut together.
He's brilliant. I mean, the one thing I will say, I don't know whether you've gone, you'll have gone and seen this before we sign off for today, is if you haven't already, there is a very short 5-10 minute piece, and it's a short which is shot literally after the series is finished but set before it, and it's called When Jimmy Met Bunk.
Oh, nice.
It's their first meeting, and it's fucking hilarious because it's exactly what you would imagine would happen if those two met for the first time.
Nice.
So yeah, go and watch that as well. But cool. So there you go, boys and girls. That's
it. We actually agreed on one.
We actually agreed.
It's a bloody
on
good job our number
top
ones
one.
were the same, because we have gone long on this.
We have gone very long
I'm sure
on this
Wayne
one.
will cut us back in, but
I'm sure so.
So we will leave it at that for this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed that. Again, as always, get in touch with us. The email address is screenmasters@bitebackmedia.co.uk. That's screenmasters@bitebackmedia.co.uk, and the bite is spelt like a computer bite, not a food bite. You can also head over to our newly fancily created and designed, he says, hoping that the designs have come through by now, as you're listening to this, for the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/ScreenMasters. Next episode, we are back round to film, and I think we might be looking at the DC animated movies, starting from early noughties. I will confirm in the coming weeks, but that's where I think we're going next, guys. So, thank you for joining us. I have been Bav.
I have been Fluff.
And this has been ScreenMasters.
If you walk through the garden, you better watch your back.